Judy Bisonet, Program Coordinator, New Student Intake.
Z Casa, Assistant Dean of Enrollment Services.
Pamela Maynard, Director of Student Development and Counseling.
And Martin White, Student Mathematics Department.
And Patrice Davis, Social Science.
Like the rest of us? Or who's not me? Just to give us a little, I think by this time we kind of know a little bit about the college, but just wanted to talk a little bit about the demographics. We are a little bit over 50% 17 to 20, 54% African American, which makes us a predominantly black institution. That's the PBI grant that we keep hearing about. We're also 26% Latino, which makes us a Hispanic serving institution. That's another grant funding opportunity. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Humber. But more importantly, we are 15th in the nation for granting African American associate's degrees. Did you know that? We're in the top 5% in the country, according to the Community College Weekly. We have an Olympic track dynasty, but we also have a lot of sports dynasties. And we are an academic powerhouse. 10 Jack Kent Cook scholars, 4 academic all-USA Americans, 3 Fulbright scholars. There are a lot of four-year institutions that cannot boast just 3 Fulbright scholars amongst the faculty, and a National Medal of Honor winner. So that's pretty impressive. With that, Z, do you want to tell them about our graduation, our number of graduates each year?
Yes, of course. The President mentioned it this morning in this morning's session. And you all remember, commencement, the exciting commencement that, we all attend every year. Every year it seems to be the number of students who are graduating increases. And those are basically the number of degrees. Later on we'll talk about, how that relates to our graduation rate. But we did 5 years. We went back 5 years to look at the number of degrees and certificates, and every year it just has been increasing. So that's exciting.
So, sorry about this, I guess it was kidding, but this is the graduation degrees and certificates for the past 5 years. We've actually grown by 40% over the last 5 years. Another amazing accomplishment. It went from about 900 to 1,400 in the past 5 years. But with all of that, we are still dead last in the state for graduation rates. With the numbers that you saw, we are anywhere between 5 to 7%, depending on which number you're looking at, for graduation rates in the state. So how can we fill the prudential on the one hand, and on the other hand, be dead last in the state for graduation rates? There must be something going on. And the issue is that for the federal government, they don't look at the number of people that you graduate. It's not the quantity, it's how long it takes for them to graduate. And the key is they are looking at what we call footer, okay? First time, full-time, degree-seeking students, those are the ones that count, and they have to graduate in 3 years or less. And what you'll find is that all of those people who are in the rock, those 1,400 students, they have graduated in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you get what I'm saying? Years or less. The point is, yes, for us, because we are a community college and because we care and because we are mission focused and because we put students first, the point is that what? They graduated. For the state, for the federal government, what they want is for them to graduate in 3 years or less in order for them to count. The reason why this is important, I don't know if you guys heard President Obama speak about this at a graduation recently. He talked about the fact that he was going to start actually ranking colleges, both 4-year and 2-year institutions, on not how exclusive they are, in other words, how much they cost and how many people they wouldn't let in, right? But how long it took them to graduate. And when they talked about how long it took them to graduate, they're talking about 3 years or less. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be known for not being able to graduate in 3 years or less. When I'm graduating 1,400 students, I'm one of the top people in the country providing associate's degrees to students, and the only thing that's holding me up from getting my fair due is the fact that I can't get them out in some arbitrary number that someone else has decided. So rather than crying over spilt milk, what are we going to do? Fix it. We're going to graduate them in 3 years or less. We're going to know who the cohort is. We're going to concentrate on them, and we're going to get them out of here. Okay? So, in order to do that, we have to cooperate. We have to break down some barriers. We have to not grumble about it. We have to understand that this is just sort of one of the challenges for the college, and we have to collaborate. You've been hearing a lot of that recently. So that's what this presentation is about.
Oh, okay. So, it's my turn. Well, I went to a conference not too long, a couple of years ago, actually it was a long time ago, and there was a story that they told about a school that animals started. And in the school that animals started, they decided that they were going to have arbitrary requirements that every animal had to do everything. So they decided that the rabbit, who wasn't known for swimming, had to learn how to swim. And they didn't really care that the rabbit was really fast and running. They were only interested in whether or not he could swim. They also decided that the duck, who was a fabulous swimmer, I'm clicking this time.
Okay, so
The duck, who was a fabulous swimmer,
that's the rabbit trunk.
could not run. You know, ducks got flat feet. They don't run very well. So they made the ducks learn how to run. And they were all happy because the duck could run. But unfortunately, the duck's feet got all jacked up, and so the duck couldn't swim. So the moral of the story is we all have gifts and strengths that we do well. And when we all try to fit everybody into a square peg when we're all round, and as we get older, we get rounder, what happens is we don't really maximize all of the potential that each of us have. And so this is all about looking at what we all do well, figuring out how we can all work together to bring what we do well and best to the table so that we all end up with a greater product. The sum is greater than the whole. And it's all about strengths.
Strength-based collaboration. So you're not going to ask the duck to run. You're not going to ask the rabbit to swim, right? So we're not going to ask, okay, I'm getting ready to get in trouble. We're not going to ask faculty to check banner. Right? Right, Z? I don't know. And we're not going to ask administration to teach. I mean, you know, except those of us who are adjunct. But you get what I'm saying? Okay, each to their own gifts. That doesn't mean that we couldn't if we didn't have to, okay? But all I'm saying is, why don't we do what we do good, better, okay? Why don't we, like, acknowledge that we all have strengths, right? And it's okay that you are better at math than I am.
Praise the Lord.
Amen. Okay? Why don't we acknowledge that instead of, oh, I can do math, I can do math. Well, no, you are the expert. Let's let the experts do what the experts do, okay? Let's give props to the experts when it is time to give props to the experts and then move the college forward, right? Based on strengths. That doesn't mean that if I want to do a little math, I can't, okay? Because math is not just for the math people, right? Okay? But give props to the experts. Let the experts do. Like, that's a graduation expert right there. Stand up. Yay! Okay. Give props to the experts. Okay? Build on the strengths. Move forward. Okay? Love to duck. Live to swim. That's like a motto that we have kind of been talking about. But How do you know what strengths you need? You need assessment. Okay? How do you know what expert you need to call on? You need assessment. So, okay, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that.
There you go.
Okay, this is what we need. We looked at what contributes to continuous enrollment. Okay? Because that's really what graduating in 3 years means. You can't stop out. Okay? And you know how our students kind of put the left foot in, they put the left foot out, they're like, fall, not yet. Spring, no, I'll be back, right? Full time, and then I'll be part-time. Okay, what is going on? So what it came down to, I looked at continuous registration. What did these students have in common? It was they're 106 more times more likely to continue if they declare a major. What? I've got a goal, I've got a purpose. I'm more likely to continuously enroll. These are not rocket science, right? Optimal load is 11.5 credits. Well, if I come in full-time, I'm more likely to stay full-time. And I'm taking not just any college course, but college courses that contribute to my major. In other words, I'm properly advised, I know what I'm doing, I'm more likely to be happy at the end of the semester, I will come back. So what is it? Advising matters. Is this news to anybody? Not, I mean, percentage-wise, it might be news, but the fact that advising matters and will keep, if you're well advised, you will stay in school, is that news? No, right? Middle State said it, our sensei says it, every time we do any kind of evaluation or survey or anything, advising always runs to the top, right? So what we decided to do was do a really comprehensive institution-wide plan to address advising at what? Every single step of the way, okay? Every single step of the way, not just when faculty does it, but if retention is everybody's business, advising is really everybody's business too. Because she can spend 3 hours talking to somebody, and then they run into like somebody in the hallway who says, oh, you don't need to do that, and whoop, out the window, right? Okay, so the idea is to get them ready, get them committed, and graduate. Get them ready, increase their college readiness, get committed, increase persistence and support, and graduate. And you have to graduate in what?
3 years of love.
There you go, because footers are going to let us eat. Okay, so getting them ready. We changed recruitment. Recruitment is not just about enrollment. When I first came, Dr. Yamba, God bless him. So, Marva, how many more are we going to get this year? Every year, new students, percentage increase. Every year, new students, percentage increase. One year I came to him, I said, Dr. Yamba, you know, we can't keep building the college based on new student increases. And we made a deal. I'll give you a certain percentage new students, but we got to start increasing our returning students. Now, I didn't know, I mean, I'm from corporate. I didn't know that was retention. I just knew we couldn't keep bringing in more new students and letting the returning students drop out of the back of the barrel, okay? So we changed our recruiting strategy. We have an instant admit, we do on-site recruitment, but we start talking to the students from the very beginning, not just about coming to college, but about staying in college, about goal setting, about declaring a major. Remember the assessment in the beginning? We develop matriculation plans. So we do an advisement, pre-advisement before they come in about what do you need to do, not just to come into the college, but to graduate. It's a 3-year advisement plan, informal advisement plan. You know what that does? It helps them realize if I don't take that summer class, then it's going to take me forever to get out. Okay? And the instant admit tends to be about 30% of the new student registration, and you will be happy to know that for fall, we're up about 45% between summer and, yeah, right, Lisa? Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa.
We're up about 45% for registration, and as you saw from Dr. Gibson's chart, enrollment is about 60% of the college revenue, so thank God for that. Okay, Judy, you want to talk about intake?
New student intake is developed to provide readmit, transfer student, and new student with overall information. we confirm their admission status and registration status. We provide them with the test results, 3 semester advisement, online registration. We collaborate with 2 different departments, actually 3 different departments. We collaborate with enrollment services, student and counseling, and financial aid. We keep all our new students within the same area, and we provide financial aid information and everything else that they need to do before they leave the college. For advisement, we're going to have Ms. Maida.
Hello, everyone. The Office of Student Development and Counseling takes care of the advisement of new students during the intake process, and we also take care of the advisement of probation students. And then everybody who comes to us in-person registration, we do that. We've hired about 10 to 15 advisors who have been recommended by the chairs of the departments. They are all adjunct faculty in most cases. Otherwise, they're also credentialed people, where they come in, they speak to the students, and then they advise them for 3 semesters at the point when they come in. They leave that point and go over to the inputs, the lab area in the red area, and there are advisors who show them how to put their advisement in themselves so that they'll know how to go online and do it online in the future. They help them with that. When they finish getting their courses, they also help them to find the financial aid screen so they can see the problems with financial aid. And they also help them to go into their emails. So they learn that all on the time, at the time they're being advised. If they have problems with financial aid, there's a financial aid person in the room who will go into detail as to what's incorrect or what they need to do to complete the process. And then we ended up with an exit conference where we show them how to read their bill. We give them some logistics about how the school is arranged. We tell them about paying the bill. We show them when the first day of classes are. We show them whether they are on this campus or at the West Essex campus, if it's morning or if it's evening classes, so that when they leave the advisement session at this point, they have a little introduction as to where they need to go and how they need to start classes. In addition to the registration and advisement, the office is also responsible. Not yet? Oh, not yet. Okay.
So, one of the things about intake, it used to be students would come in, they would register for advisement, they would get frustrated with the process, they would leave. We would lose literally 25% of our application pool before they even got to registration, okay? They would just leak right out the door. They would be that frustrated. Because of the partnership with all of these areas, we have actually reduced that leakage to about 3%, 3 to 5%, and that's mainly because they're not supposed to be there. The guys that are leaving now before registering, they weren't supposed to be there in the first place. The student satisfaction surveys for intake are fabulous. They call people by name, they say thank you, they talk about how excited they are about coming to the college, and they talk about how they feel like because of this process, they have made the right choice to come to the college. So when you say, why are you talking about intake when you're supposed to be talking about retention? Because retention starts even before you get to the college. Okay? So recruitment, when you see that recruiter and they've got your mind not on, I think I'll try Essex, but I can't wait to go and graduate. And then when you come to intake and that experience is so wonderful that it reinforces that decision, and you leave there with that 3-semester advisement and you already know how to use the web services and you feel like you already know what you're doing, do you see what kind of difference that is? The different student you have on the first day of class versus that person who's confused and wondering, what the hell did I get myself into? Right? Get them ready. You have increased their college readiness. Okay? I want to tell you about one more thing. College Success Seminar. I think you guys have heard about it. We had it a long time ago. We have changed the direction of the College Success Seminar. It has strength-based advising inside of the College Success Seminar. One of the first things they talk about is what kind of learner are you, and how do you apply that learning strategy to moving forward, not only at Essex, but in general. It is a light bulb for the students to realize, oh my God, you mean I'm not stupid? You mean I have to change the way that I interact with my professor in terms of learning this material? It is really a major change in terms of how a student can be retained. We tie the syllabus to the academic calendar. So for example, Pam's office does Career Week. They partner with the College Success Seminar, and all of the students that are in CSS go through Career Week. Remember, 160% more likely to be retained if they declare a major. Well, imagine how much more likely you are to be retained if you really know what major you really, really want to be, rather than just putting something down on the paper. There's test prep prior to midterms. There's a library week prior to your major paper. Registration is also included in the syllabus. So remember we talked about persistence? Well, before they go from the fall to the spring, they actually register inside of their class. So do you get how we're trying to tie some of the institutional milestones, put them actually, embed them into some of the things that are happening in the college to make sure that our students are not getting lost, that there are deliberate interventions, intentional interventions along every step of the way. Every student who took the summer development program had to take the College Success Seminar. So there were over 600 students. It was mandatory. It was the first time that College Success was mandatory. Every student had to take the College Success Seminar in addition to a developmental course. There were over 600 students who took the summer program. That was up about 30% over last year. And the students who took the College Success Seminar and were successful are going to have an additional opportunity, okay? So let's think of it this way. I came in through Instant Admit. I know what my 3-year plan is, okay? I was so committed to that that I decided to come in and take a summer program to move me, say, from the 08 to the 09 level, or from the 09 to the 100 level. Most of them took an English class, okay? So I've just moved up 1 level in English. All right, now we're going to call them, actually Judy is going to call them and say, hey, congratulations on successfully completing your English move up. We now want to, for students who are really, really close in the cut scores in math, we now want to offer you an opportunity to brush up on your math skills and retest for math. And Professor Weissman is going to tell you about a program that we've developed to do that.
Okay, thank you, Marva. As you may know, all entering students take the AccuPlace test exam. And that's an apropos name because it does a good job at accurately placing the students in the correct math class. As Dr. Gibson alluded to this morning, most of our students, about 90%, place in developmental courses. That would mean that most students are placed in either Math 086 or Math 092. That could mean for most students that they don't see a college level math course until their 2nd year at the college. I'd like to talk about the first of my 3 efforts to get students to graduate within 3 years, and it concerns the AccuPlace test. We went over, Marva went over the grades that our students received, and she noticed that a lot of them were very close to the cutoff score to go into Math 092. Marva asked me if I could help the college and create an AccuPlace test prep. So as Marva just mentioned, that we can give the students a chance after using the AccuPlace test prep to retake the AccuPlace and perhaps skip over the Math 086, accelerating that students into higher math and getting the student out within 3 years. When the spring semester finished, I got to work and I developed an AccuPlace test prep. Now many colleges now are offering AccuPlace test preps. Some of them are actual courses or workshops. Other colleges just hand out materials, and some just give links to the accuplacer.com website or to other websites. In fact, if you do a Google search on Accuplacer test prep, you'll get a couple of million of hits of what different colleges are trying to do. And this is the talk in many conferences of colleges around the country. All colleges are having this problem. The problem again is most students place low and have to take a couple of preparatory courses as opposed to getting very close to the math, the college level math. So I developed a Accuplacer test. That's okay. This is what the student sees. There are 42 questions. I went to accuplacer.com and used their guidelines as to what would be included on their exams. And then I created 42 questions that I thought if students were able to do well on those 42 questions, then they would be able to pass over the Math of 086, get into the 092, and be one class away from the college level math course. And this summer, we went over the, we actually tested this test on live students, albeit staff members at the college, and they were very enthusiastic that they were able to accomplish things that they couldn't think they could do. And we're ready to go live, correct? Any day now. And the difference is we're going to give the students the software so they can practice at home at their own pace. They don't have to come to the college to do the work. They don't just have a sheet of paper with questions and answers. They see problems. If they don't understand how to do the problem, they click on See Solution and they can step through the solution. And they could step through as many of the same problem or different problems as they want. When they're ready, then they attempt the problem. And if they're right, as you saw in the previous slide, if you can go back, they see this pie chart, and all the green pieces of pie meant they accomplished, they can do those problems well. And so now they know which problems are left for them to do. Now we give them the software on a flash drive. They work at their own pace at home. Then they bring in this printout, which will tell us, will show us as a pie chart, we don't see it themselves, how much they've accomplished, and then a reference number which tells us the actual time that they spent on the tutorial. And if they can present this and we see significant amount of work, then and only then will we give them the retake. We're thinking of giving them about a week to 10 days to accomplish this, and we think it's going to work and get students out of the Math of 086 into the 092 and onwards.
And Mark and Professor Weissman is being incredibly modest.
Yeah.
The students loved it. They loved it. They thought it was so easy. They said, we had students who said, I could never do fractions, and now I can understand how to do it. And the name of the program is Math 911. So, Professor Weissman.
Now, remember what we said about strengths? Who here could design a math program? Okay? Who here could design a math program that was so much fun that when we tested it, the students did not want to stop playing with it? Okay? That's how much fun it was. All right? That's incredible. That's, 38 years of teaching experience put towards good use.
50 years.
Okay, and that's going to improve our retention and graduation rates, because we can use this not only for the pre-test, but Professor Weitzman will tell you later about how we're going to use his experience to help us improve our graduation rates. Okay? Ooh, shoot. Okay, so Pam, that's your snack.
Okay. Not only do we help students with the intake and registration and advisement, but we're there to support them throughout the whole time they're here with the efforts that we have in our office. We have a new program that started this last year that's called Single Stop. That's where the student can come to speak to an advisor or a counselor who will look and see whether they're eligible for other resources outside of the college, like food stamps, or assistance with food, or assistance with placement if they don't have anywhere to live. And we have it's called a single stop program, and it runs out of the Yellow area. Their office recently changed, so I'm going to have new flyers that tell students where to go for that. In addition to that, we already talked about Career Week, which is an effort to get early with the students and give them all of the information that we can share with them for to survive through the college years. The counselors meet with them. The other people in the office who serve students meet with them. Our disability person meets with them. And that's a wonderful collaboration between the office and faculty, because they inform the faculty of any needs that the students may have in the classroom. We also have internships and co-op experiences that you can get out of that office. And one thing that's very important is the work-study program. We have some statistics that indicate that if students have a little money to help them as they are going through college for buses or whatever, and many of the students here, of course, get financial aid, but there are many that don't. And if they qualify for work study, that gives them a check every 2 weeks that allows them to maneuver and get in, get their lunches or whatever they may need. That's a support, and with that little bit of money that they get, it has been sustainable for them to continue and to be successful throughout the time they're here. We have the graduate survey, which is an effort that tells us the information that students who graduate from us, we do that, we've been doing it for the last 5 or 6 years, where they're going, if they're transferring, if they're going on to work, or whatever that situation is. And we keep those statistics. In the FY11 year, we found that many of the students who responded to the survey did graduate between 2 and 3 years. So the record is improving. They may not have been our footers, as she calls, but it is improving the students and how quickly they do get out of here. That's pretty much it for the Student Development Center. Everyone knows where we're located, and you should direct students there whenever they're having problems, because we have people there who can assist them.
Okay, so we talked a lot about getting the students ready, and the reason why we spent so much time on it is because if they don't come in a position of, I can do this, I am ready to do this, and I am prepared to do this, it doesn't matter how much time, effort, and attention we give them, it will be more difficult to move them forward, right? And a lot of people are aware of what happens when they get here. We wanted to make sure that you guys had a little bit of an idea of some of the things that were happening before they got to your classroom. So now let's talk about getting them committed. When they get here, what are we doing with them? And the first place we wanted to start was with the illustrious registrar, where it all begins and ends. So, Z started with a picture because I think she's very proud of Enrollment Services, but I also asked her to give a list of everything that she did.
We'll be here all out.
That's right.
So I'm not going to do that. Enrollment Services One Stop. Back in 2001, I believe, Enrollment Services was established with the goal of the students in mind. Prior to that, students were going from office to office, to get information, to enrollment information, to transact, business with us. It was just too frustrating for the students. So we were challenged to come up with a solution for that, and Enrollment Services was born, one-stop service. Enrollment Services one-stop service is admissions, it's testing, it's registration, it's grades, it's transcripts, it's graduation, where the students can come to one central location and find out information about the enrollment process, transact business with us, have their problems, resolutions for their problems, get some guidance from us about whatever it is that they need to do. It's been a successful venture, a very challenging one, but yet a successful venture. We've serviced hundreds and hundreds of students that come to our doors in enrollment services. As you can see, the list goes on from admissions from A to W, as a matter of fact, and more. These are just some highlights of some of the things that students come to us to get assisted by the enrollment services staff.
Can you talk about the online stuff? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
In order to increase student accountability and to really move more students to online and to really build a culture of self-service, because that really would help the students, it gives them the convenience of online access to so many things. So we have, over the years, implemented so many of the online services, from online admissions to online registration, to being able to withdraw from classes online, to online degree evaluation. They can run their own degree evaluation so they know where they are in terms of completing their requirements. And now the new thing that we have is the wait list. So no longer students would have to line up outside of the chairperson's office in order to get into a closed section. They can put themselves on a wait list and wait until the seat becomes available in the class, and then they get an email notice so they can register themselves for the available classes. All these are things that we do in collaboration with IT, our great IT department. We can't do all this without them. But when you talk about collaboration, these are the kinds of collaboration that we do with IT to improve services for the students, as well as for faculty in web services. We have added so many things in web services. Now faculty can access test scores, students' test scores and placement. That's a new thing that we added to web services, in addition to the degree audits. Degree audits can be run by a faculty member, can be run by a student. So these are tools that we have added with the help of our IT department to enhance our student intake, for example. Every time we are asking ourselves, what is it that we can do to improve the process for the students or for the various offices? Intake staff now uses like a banner screen where all the students' information is centralized into one banner form, into one banner screen, so they can view the students' admission status, the test placement they can see the students' registration status, they can see academic history, if they are on probation or what have you. They can see the students' financial aid status, all this on one banner screen. So it really moves the intake quickly. It wasn't like that always. We were going to, I don't know how many banner screens, to view all this information, so it slowed down intake. But again, in collaboration with IT, we were able to come up with a screen like that where it really has enhanced the intake process. We also track students. Students are not just admitted and then left on their own. We track their appointments, their testing appointments, their registration appointments. If they miss their testing appointments, we know who they are, so we can do a follow-up on them. All this is collaboration that we do with the recruitment office, with IT, so we can't do it all by ourselves. We just wanted to show you that these are all the things that we do in enrollment services.
And I would like to do a shout out to the graduation clearance folks, because as a program coordinator, it's so fabulous to be able to send your students over there, have them review it, bam, you're in line. And also the CLEP testing, which allows a lot of students who speak another language to take a test and get credit for their language and not have to take two semesters in order to do that.
So we have 10 minutes left. This is called the speed round. You ready? All right. We talked about completing your degree in 3 years or less. We have a program, it's called the Completion Project. The Completion Project is designed to encourage students to have continuous enrollment so they can what? Complete their degree in 3 years or less. And we don't care if they're footer or not, we just want them to get them in, get them committed, and get out, graduate, okay? Every year share at the beginning of the semester, we have a rally. The idea of the rally is to get the students excited about coming to the college and to stay in the school. It's a collaboration between recruitment and retention, student affairs, and as you can see, a lot of the student groups. So we give away lots of goodies during the rally. We give away tickets, movie tickets. We gave away iPads. We gave away a really big TV screen. This rally, yeah, you missed it. This rally, we're going to be giving away, hopefully, a trip to the Caribbean. What do you have to do? You have to be enrolled. What do you have to do to get the big, big, big prizes? You have to be here last semester or 2 semesters before. You get it? Yes. Please encourage your students to attend. It's going to be October 16th or thereabouts, okay?
We send buses up to West Essex to bring them down.
There are 2,000, you know what? We'll look at it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
2,000 people up there.
Seriously. We have 2,000 pledges from the last 2 years. Students signed pledges to complete their degree in 3 years or less. Importantly, 83% retained from fall to spring, 65% retained from fall to fall. So it works, right? Advisement week, group advisement. We had about 2,000, let me see, where's the numbers? That's Victor advising, that's a really cute picture. About 2,000 student advised, and what we found is 80 to 90% of the people who came through advisement week came back and registered for the next semester. Part of that is because if they didn't register by early registration, the retention specialist had their names. They called them, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? Oh, I can't, I don't have money, I don't know what to do, et cetera, et cetera. There's actually follow-up that happens for people who are part of the completion team.
Okay, this really quickly, one of the things I do, as I've done since I've been here, is to go around to all the criminal justice classes and actually do group advisement in the class. And I used to have to go around to all the classes. I used to get in there. I used to have to rely on the students to tell me what classes they had taken, what classes they needed to take. It turns out I was able to advise like almost 2,500 students this way. But, and I did it using a group advisement. But the problem is what? Burnout. Because you're trying to do all of this, you're trying to keep track of banner, you're trying to do all the things. I am not the person you want to have sitting at the banner screen trying to figure out what's going on. That's not me, okay? And so it's really overrated. And so I talked to other folks about how could we leverage the resources that happen in all of these fabulous offices here that you guys can sit there and do it with your eyes closed. And then give that information to me, and then, bam, I'm able to do what I do best, which is convince the student what they need to do. And so this strategy with using advisement week and other things, other kinds of collaborations that have really improved the way things happen, have given me an opportunity to go from help to, hey, hey, no problem. Okay? Because the matriculation plans let me tell them and show them visually why you really want to take summer classes. The degree evaluations tell me, with looking at them at a glance, what classes the students still need. And I have been able to maximize the advisement experience of my students without having to burn out in order to do it.
So here's a really good example of partnership. We develop the shell, we give you everything that you need, the 3-semester advisement, where they are, what they need to take. We kind of put everything together for you, right? And then all you have to do is when you get in there, have that connection with the student and have that higher level conversation rather than sort of putting it all together and trying to figure out what are you going to say, and by the time they get there, you're too exhausted to carry on the conversation.
This is just another thing it talks about developing a culture of completion, success from Brock's degree in 3.
Okay, so continuing on with this idea of advisement. graduation. It's really important. We didn't know in terms of advisement who was walking in the door. They footer or not footer. And as we said, getting the chosen ones are very important, right? The first-time, full-time, degree-seeking students. What we found is footer number, guys, my retention specialist, what's the footer number? How many?
Which year?
Huh?
Which year?
Excuse me. Fall 2010, what's the number?
2646.
2646, okay? There's 2646 footer, but at the beginning of last fall, there were only 225 footers in the house. Can you believe that? There's 2646 that started out in fall of 2010, but last year, in fall, there were only a couple of hundred sitting in school. Okay, that's what we had to work with in terms of people to graduate. And of those 200 students, there were only like a little handful, like 60 of them, who had 30 or more college credits. Okay, it was a really hard thing to see. And we can probably tell you every single name, because let me tell you, we hounded those folks like a crazy person all year trying to get them to graduate. Okay? This is what we did. We tried to keep them in the boat. It was a pilot. It was an exercise to see what were the issues. And it was the first deliberately fully institutional exercise to make sure that these specific guys graduated. The retention specialists and the graduation coaches actually did manual degree audits on all 256 students to see what they needed to do to graduate. And out of that, we found that there were a lot of courses that were needed, but oddly enough, it was not the courses that you would expect. Professor Davis?
Yes, we looked at the people who had 60 credits or more, and a while back AAC did, and discovered that the thing that was keeping people from graduating were not major classes, but gen ed classes, and most specifically, Math 092 and Math 100. Okay? And so what AAC did was it wrote a grant, an internal mini grant, to get what we called at first a repeaters math class, where we would have students come in and who had been repeating the class. And then someone said, well, why are you just dealing with repeaters? What about those avoiders? People who are at 30 credits or 40 credits who still haven't taken any college level math, or who are still afraid of Math 092. And so then we said, and since we're supposed to be focused and targeted on the fall 2010 cohort, why don't we say that we have a graduation math, which is a math that's designed to help students graduate. If you're close to graduation and you need a math class, we should as an institution be prepared to wrap our arms around you and give you as many resources as we possibly can to make that happen. And thank you, Professor White.
Marvin Patrice contacted me and asked me if I would teach a special graduation math course for Math 100. I declined. And the reason is because I'm of the opinion if they couldn't do it 2, 3, 4 times with other professors, they wouldn't be able to do it with me either. I would not be able to help them. So I convinced them, instead of having them register in a graduation Math 100, which is college algebra, I told them, how about a Math 101 statistics, which is in fact more meaningful across all majors. And so last semester we did just that, and the results were very successful results.
Phenomenal. 90%.
And what we did was, it's hard to see, but we had kind of a small class. And with a smaller class, you're able to do more collaborative learning, more worksheets handed out, working on worksheets. They used my software and they used my PowerPoints, which made it a little bit easier. And again, the results were, I guess, phenomenal. And I look forward to doing it again, yes.
Just give us 3 more minutes, guys. We know the time. Yeah.
That math will satisfy the requirement. For most majors, it says math 100, complete
Yeah.
or
Or
math
higher.
Yeah.
or higher.
Yeah.
So this will
Right.
satisfy the statistics course.
Yes.
Is
And our objective is to get the students out of this school and worry about
so that they
4-year
should not have a
transcripts.
problem
No,
completing
the key is,
depending
here's
on their
the
major,
key.
please.
Here's how you have to transfer your credits. You have to graduate,
That's right.
okay? When you graduate, your 101, your 103 transfers, okay? When you don't graduate,
Nothing.
Then you may have a
a
problem.
lot of things don't
Right.
transfer.
I just
okay?
wanted to know because
Yeah.
students will ask that question.
You have to
In
graduate.
my degree, it says, the requirements for my degree, it says math 100.
Or higher.
Or
Or higher.
higher, so.
Okay.
Or higher.
Good.
If it says math 100, then no. But
Okay.
if it says math
Or
100
higher.
or higher,
Got it.
Talk about one more way that I try to accelerate students through the math sequence. I convinced the chairperson to, instead of having 2 distinct courses, to combine the 2 courses so students don't over the summer forget what they learned in Math 092, come back and forget it when they're taking Math 100. And it is restricted to students that can do it. It's it can be done, and it was very successful also, and it can be done because there's a distinct overlap, unlike History 101, History 102, where they're separate and apart as far as chronologically apart. Math 092, Math 100 has an overlap, and we can accomplish that. And we're going to run it again this term, and the chairman just told me, he said he wants to make it an official course.
all right.
So there's one other thing, guys. When we looked at the assessment for the graduates, we saw people with 60, 70, 80 credits, okay? 3.0 GPAs. So it wasn't about not taking math, etc. You know what it was about? We're a community college. What happens in your first 2 years at any college? I think I'll do this. I think I'll be this. I think I'll be a biology major. I think I'll be a dentist. I think I'll be a dancer. I think I'll be a... And there's nothing in there the first 2 years to actually become anything, right? It's career exploration, but no major. So one of the things we've asked academic affairs to do is to develop a general studies degree, okay? Which recognizes the fact that you have completed your general education requirements, that you've taken 200 level courses, right? But that you've basically done what most people do in a 4-year college during the first 2 years. You've done career exploration, right? You've done career exploration. There's no reason why we should penalize someone for doing what you would normally do as a college student. And they're in the process of doing that. We partnered with the Social Science Division. They've actually put it through Curriculum Committee, and it's in the process of being approved by the state. Once we have that, that's one of the things that will dramatically increase our graduation rate. Okay, just one more thing. Fall to fall retention, 51%. Fall to spring retention, 78%. 3-year graduation rate up 25%. Okay, we're still at the bottom. Let's not be,
All giddy and
okay. But the point is, you have to start somewhere, and by working together, by all oars pulling in the same direction, we have been able to make some substantial improvements, but more importantly, we've been able to identify some really key barriers to success that we have quickly been able to move towards addressing. My request, my plea is, if you see something, it's kind of like the transit, if you see something, say something. If there is something that you feel can improve retention or graduation, no matter how small, no matter how large, please let us know. We are serious about this. I would love to triple, quadruple, 1,000th our graduation rate by this time next year. Thank you for your time and attention.